This is a general overview video of HRS Connect. So very quickly, from the opening screen you will be presented with the dashboard area where you will see a summary of all the events that have been going on in your recruiting processes. It's all date driven, so if I choose today's date you'll see all the data disappears except for the open jobs. We go back a little while, you'll see all the data reappears. So it's completely date driven based on your user login. So the information shown, as you can see, is interviews created, comms, and the top row that we call the general activity stores a lot of information all based on your daily events, and the little pop-up window there will show you the details of those events. So if we look at CV sends, you'll see all the CVs that you've sent to various clients. Going down, you'll see obviously open jobs and interviews created. If we move along the left-hand navigation bar, you'll see that we have actions and to-dos, all here on the same process of being date-driven, or concept of being date-driven, and the KPIs, which will either show an alert or certificate based on how well each individual's performed. Now this is your KPI, so each user can see their own KPIs. And can obviously monitor how well they're doing, and it is controlled by the admin section. Further down we've got email signatures, and you can paste in some code and you will get to see the email, and you can obviously have a free text signature at the top. And finally the preferences, where you can either choose one of our avatars or import your own image. So that's the general overview of the dashboard. And again, you can do some interesting things navigation-wise from there. We also have on the right-hand side here access to the alerts. So when you get incoming emails, for example, they'll sit there. And also access to your personal emails, logging in, logging out, and your own preferences. Access to the other tables is done purely from the navigational options from the drop-down menus that you can see at the top. So all you need to do is choose which area you'd like to go to and click on the link to take you there. So let's have a look at candidates. Candidates will go through the navigation obviously to candidate list, and this will present you with a list of candidates, all scrollable, searchable, with the information, basic information about that candidate shown right there in list view. You can get access to a few options here under the sort and filter to sort and obviously filter the data that you're looking at. So you can sort each column or filter from each column. And we also have a list of functions where you can do things like bulk import, bulk long list records, or mail merge. On the right hand side we also have access to the travel and radius, as you've just seen, where you can do radius searches as well. The navigation buttons at the bottom will obviously allow you to scroll through the records as you wish. So let's go into one of these records. Let's go into Roy Rogers and we'll have a little look at the information that we're storing against a candidate record. So we've got the details view here with lots of information about phone numbers, home address, date of birth, marital status, languages, preferred location. Editing any of these fields from the drop downs can be done through the pop-up menu, or if there's additional information to be shown, you can see those through the additional pop-up as well. Changing any of the data, for example, making someone available, can be done by simply clicking on the drop-down as shown. Let's move through the tabs. Before that, we've got obviously making a candidate a contact or both is simply done with the optional tag there. Communication stores all incoming and outgoing emails and notes. The Documents tab will store CVs. You've got the CV text, so as soon as you put a CV into the database, the CV text is immediately stripped, makes it instantly searchable. Let's have a look at this CV. So the CV that's stored in this particular record can be launched at any time just by clicking on the arrow. The job history, everywhere where this particular person has worked, is also shown, and also where you've placed them. And then the tags and the social links are also shown in this tab here, where you can obviously get access to Google, LinkedIn information and so forth, and launch that information from there. If a candidate matches a job, it will be in the job match, and you can simply click on the arrow at the end to put them into a long list or shortlist them directly. As you can see here, we've got a few people in the shortlist, and this information can be moved straight into a workflow depending on the option you choose. The workflow summarizes everywhere where this particular candidate has got some kind of action with a client. So here we've got this particular person has been put forward for 4 jobs, or had their CV sent for 4 jobs, and you can filter who you're looking at or what stage you're looking at anyone's work process. Very simply, just by clicking on the optional filter there. Events and tasks and to-dos are also stored, as are the social links. Here's where you can get access to viewing live, say, LinkedIn data. This is a live LinkedIn feed directly into the record, so it's as the person's data would be seen. We've got a Twitter account here as well, Facebook and Google+. We even have a search at the end here which will use the candidate's data to perform a Google search, as you'll see here. This is just a straight Google search that's obviously showing the details of Roy Rogers or options of what Roy Roger may be. Further down, we've got saved lists and custom fields, all editable and searchable right from this person's candidate card. So let's actually pass a record, show you what happens when we put a brand new CV in, or pass a brand new CV into the database. So choose a CV. Here's my directory. So I'm going to find, I've got a folder with some CVs here. I'll find a particular CV. We've got one there. I'm going to choose it's a candidate CV. And now the database will pass all the information in the background, leave me with a list of skills that I can then add to if I wish, or if I'm happy with what I've got. On the left-hand side are my skills, on the right-hand side are additional skills found, so you can add them as you go along, and you can build up your own skills criteria if you wish to do so. Click continue, and I've now got a database record in a couple of seconds. We can tag it as a hot CV if we want. We can add from our drop-down menus by simply choosing whichever option we want, for example, the employment market or position sort. Or, but as you can see, we've got phone numbers. This is just from this one CV pass, phone number, email, the CV text. We've got the original CV as well, so we'll launch that and show you what we actually passed. So this is the CV that was passed. And as you can see, you can scroll through and have a look at the CV. If we go back to details, you'll see that we not only got the address information as well as all the others, we also got a summary that was built from the parsing engine. So it's worked out how many years it thinks this person has from work experience and whether that experience is in management and so forth. We've also got the education and qualifications also, just from that one pass. If we go further in, we'll also see that I think we've got job history there and the tags, so we've also got where this person has worked, all instantly from this one pass, this CV pass. And obviously if you wish to add any information, as you saw earlier, you can literally do that from the drop downs. The CV matching, obviously if a candidate matched, you'd get instant results there, but as you can see, this is a completely blank record and so far no information has been added to it. With that CV, we also have an option here that's pretty neat. You can just create a brand new CV simply by clicking on this button here. This is your own formatted CV. So you've designed this. All you need to do is choose this option and it pops up a CV in your Microsoft Word. You can now edit this if some information isn't there or you wish to change it or add it. It's your design, your style, so it's got your logo, your headers. It's then brought in all the additional information from the database, as you can see there. It's your design and your style, as I've said, so this is something we help you do when we set up the database, but it's your styling, so you can make your own CV look however you wish and pull the data in from anywhere in the candidate card. So if we go back to the details here, you'll also see that information is now instantly searchable. And you can now add anything to it, as we did earlier with the position sort. You can create communication logs, and if we type something in here, having spoken to this guy, or we've looked at the CV and we now think this is great, you'll see that instantly we have a note that's logged against this particular candidate's record. Now we're going to just do some searching. Searching is where obviously most consultants spend an awful lot of their time trying to retrieve or find that data that they need to put a candidate forward for a job. So click on the find button here. Now let's do a couple of searches here. So I'm just going to do, say, let's do account managers in London, for example, just abbreviate them. So we're looking at ACC in London. And we found these records. So you can search in any field you wish in multiple criteria. We can do these singly as well if you want. So if I just type ACC here, hit return, we have 20 records. I can then do another search now and do search for London. So we'll do LON, and instead of hitting return on my keyboard, I'm going to do a constrained search, which will search for London within those 20 records. Again, we have the same results. So a really flexible way of searching any field in any capacity on top, constraining, extending as you wish. And if we go into the details, you'll see that every single field that's got text in it is searchable, right down to the job history where you last placed someone. You can even search, as you can see here, even search in the workflow, the custom fields and everything, absolutely every field. CV text is a popular place to search, so we'll just do one quickly here. If we type in, say, London, you can also do an AND search just by adding 2 words. Hit return on my keyboard, we've got London and Windows, and we've got 49 records. I'm now going to go into list view so you can see these 49 records at view, and from here we could do another search if we wished. So we could say, let's find the word London, for example, within that, and constrain the search within those 49 records, and we've now got whittled down to 20 records, as you can see here. So you can search on top of searches within searches as you wish. You can even do the radius search if that's the way you wish to work. If you have a list of records, you can just pop up the info tab and you'll get a little brief of that person, or you can start long listing or short listing or saving data as you go along. So it's really flexible and very quick. So another search we can do is the radius search, as I mentioned earlier. Let's try one of those now. So click on the radius, travel and radius option, and you can type in, I've got some criteria that I've done in my previous search, and you can just change this criteria. You can use the drop downs or add your own text, and hit the search button, and that will filter these records now down to 20 or 30 mile radius from SW18. You can then go in and show some information driving. But let's do that. The travel information, and that will populate these little icons on the right hand side where you can view a little map that shows you the directions from and to that location. So really simple, really easy to do. From here you could then search on top of that search again, as we've shown you earlier. So you could type in some criteria if you want. You can search for other things like position sort within that list of records. So you could have done a radius search for 20 miles from SW and constrain that for account managers only, and you end up with 4 records, as you can see here. It's so flexible and very easy to use. Another way of searching, which is extremely popular, is the social sourcer. So let's go back and show you how that works. We'll choose the social sourcer. This is a way of searching social media through one of our partners. And here you've got a list of criteria on the left hand side, or search criteria you can add to, and this is searching outside of your database in social media, so LinkedIn and GitHub, Stack Overflow, About Me, and it's an ever-growing pool of data from social media. So we've done a search for developer, we've got 82,000 records instantly found. Now that might be too much. It obviously is too much when you first start. So let's go in again, and we're going to use, now we can use from your drop down, these are your skills tags. If that's not what you're looking for, or you want to look outside of your own skills, you can create your own skill tag, and you can add some criteria here. So I'm doing Java, for example, and choose between it being optional or required, but Java, Oracle. Let's add another one. Let's do, say, C++, and it's optional. We'll do an optional search. So this probably will not change that result too much. Here we go, exactly the same, just I think we've got a few more there. If I now make this a required search, suddenly you'll see these results change. So same search again, we're down to 2,000 from 82,000. So we can add more to this. So let's go in again and maybe let's choose a country. So we'll just whittle this down to the UK, search again. We're now down to 1,193. Let's even drill it down further, and this time we'll use our own drop down. So we've got London. And again, still a required search. Hit the search button and we're down to 453. So this is getting better. We can do even more. Let's make it even further. Let's go down into the industry, and we're going to choose computer software, for example. Let's do that. Hit the search button again, and we should hopefully whittle this down even further. And we have, it's down to 159 results. So obviously the computer industry and searching for Java is something that's going to bring these kind of results up. PHP, let's add that and do a search again. So now the criteria is getting really strong, and we're now down to 60 odd records. You can scroll through, have a look. You'll see that the information where it's found it is also highlighted on the right hand side here as well. So you can scroll through these records. If you like anyone, obviously you can have a look at their details. Let's see what else we've got here. This looks interesting. This is actually someone who we've also found their email address. So we've searched LinkedIn and I think it's GitHub there. We've also found this particular person's email. So not only does the search find data for you based on your criteria, but it also can find people that have emails, or the data has been gathered to help find candidates with emails. And when you like them, all you need to do is check on the download button, flag all the ones you want and hit the download checked. That will bring in the criteria you want. But before we do that, I'm just going to show you one more thing. You can also filter this search further down. So you're happy with the criteria, now you're going to filter it. So we want someone or people with only 5 years minimum experience. Hit the search again, and we've whittled it down even further to 45 records. Again, you can scroll through the records, have a look at them, or simply just tag the ones you want to download and check the download button. It's that easy. So once you've got your results, the next thing you're going to want to do is put them into a job. So let's show you how the job activity works. I'll do the search again for account managers because that gives me my 20 records. Now we can go to the list of functions and either long list them all straight away or short list them or save the list. Let's long list them. And you can choose flagged or all of them. This will give you a pop-up menu of all your open jobs. So now you can find the job you're looking for, either scroll through or actually search for it. I'm going to choose the sales administrator job by clicking on the plus button. And I will now go to that job. I'll post the candidates directly into that long list of that job, and I'll show you how we've recorded that information. So we go into this first candidate, look at their long list, and we'll see that the last job we've long listed them to is this job for the sales administrator. We go to that job, you'll also see that the long list has now got those 21 candidates that we put forward from the long list, from the search result directly into long list. We can now from here shortlist them by just clicking on the tab we've got there, and this will add them directly to a shortlist. So now we've got Roy Rogers there shortlisted, and you can do that for any number of candidates by simply clicking on them once you've spoken to them, or however it is that you work as a recruiter. We also have a drop-down menu there where you can change that progress. Once you're happy with some people from either the long list or the short list, you can do this option here where you click on the workflow tab, set up an agency interview, send their CV directly to a client, create a client interview. All you have to do is click on the button. If there's no CV for emailing, it will pop up a message and let you know. So you can either go and correct that or find someone that does have a CV, as I'm doing now. Once you send any sort of communication, it will also ask if you want to do a to-do. And if you choose to, that's great. If not, you'll end up in the email window where you can send that CV directly to the client from there. Well, let's go back now and see what happens in the job. So if we go back to the job, obviously we've got our long listed candidates there. We've got the short listed ones. So now we also have, or we can add another process. So for example, we go in here, you can also say set up a client interview, for example. That will pop up a little window where you can add this information directly to your calendar, email the details, or simply just log this as an interview. Let's add it to the calendar and show you how this works. So literally click on that button and your calendar has now been populated with the details of that interview. So if you sync your phones, for example, to your calendar, that information will now be on your phone. I'm going to set up an email here. So this will set up this email right now with one to the client and one to the candidate, obviously with the details of that interview. You can edit it and change it and hit the send all button when you're happy at the end of that process. All this information is free text, so you can change it if you wish, and you've got the formatting palette at the top so you can change the design style as you wish. So back at the job, we've got, if we look at the workflow tab, for example, we have the two chaps, one that we've done a CV send for and one that we had the interview. I can now create another workflow item simply by clicking on the workflow option. And again, you can add to a calendar or you can email these details. Once you add to a calendar, I'll show you how it actually logs it in your calendar. This is iCal on a Mac. It could be your Outlook on a PC, and it shows you all the information there, as you can see from the from that one email send, add to calendar for the interview. So I'll close this and we come out of here, you'll now see we've got, we can filter for the two candidates, so you can just find a specific person from the left-hand side or a process from the right, and you can see which people you have put forward for any particular part of a job. It's really quite simple and really cool. Let's go back to the candidate, and the same things have been happening to the candidate. So let's filter for that job, the sales job, and you'll see we've got two entries there, the CV send and the interview, both stored against that candidate, and it's added those events to my calendar as well. So my diary will also have those events against those three job activities that we posted a minute ago. Speaking of calendars, let's actually go back to the calendar and the events tab, which you can do from the dashboard area under the drop-down menu. And we'll have a look at what's actually been recorded. So all the events, you can view this on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Obviously, all the events are stored. If you open up the information, you'll see who's linked to these events and the dates and time, basically more information of the event. And if you click on entries that have multiples, so for example, we've got interviews set up here, both for Elvis and Roy Rogers. This information, obviously, if there's multiple, will show up as a multiple pop-up window, so you can view all the information that's related to it as well. So let's quickly go back to the stats page from the dashboard, sorry. Let's go and have a look at the information, as you can see, will now be populated here, so you'll see all the Roy Rogers information firsthand. And back at the job, the same information has been populated. But let's take this one step further and go into the placement area. So back at the workflow, you can see we've got our two candidates here. We can place someone directly from here. So we can choose Roy Rogers and go straight to the placement option and say yes to the placement. Obviously, this is going to close the job unless you wish it not to. You could have multiple entries. And the job activity or advert can be created from here as well. The placement gives you an option of whether it's a contract or perm, and you can also set up a follow-up to follow on to chase up this information for the placement. You can choose between whether it's a fixed fee or percentage, and the information will be accordingly added at the bottom to that placement value. So let's click out that field. There we go. And obviously you've got salary and car allowance and the details of who it's related to and the consultant involved with that placement stored on the left hand side there. The bottom right, you can simply click on the create invoice option and it will immediately create an invoice based on that information, which is still editable one last time before you send it off to a client. It's really that simple. Now, if we have a look at the job, we'll see that the job has moved out of list view because it's now closed. So we can find that job if we type in sales administration here. And obviously I want my job, so you can type in any field, as you know is searchable, so it's really simple. We'll find that job, click on the arrow, you'll see that the job is now closed. The workflow will also, the placement will also have the candidate that's been placed and the details of that. And as I said, the job has been closed. So we've now got a recorded entry. The invoice is still unpaid, but we've got a recorded entry, and we can also go back and look at the workflow and see all the people that we put forward for that job. We also can do something pretty neat with jobs, which is posting jobs to our social media links by simply clicking on this posting option. Or we can use the social poster, which will allow you to time the posting through something like we've got Hootsuite at the moment, where you can post through social media. You can post information about your job very quickly and time it. If anyone's familiar with Hootsuite, it's a way of scheduling a posting. So you can get your jobs posted at certain times that may be best suited to get the best or most interested people in that job. In the admin section, you've got access to obviously the back office, the preferences, and also reports. In the settings, for example, here we've got information about SMS text messaging, how you're going to find duplicate records. All these fields have little tags to help information tabs to help you understand what it's trying to display. You can put in your own logo, information about yourself, the API keys generated for our job board, which every client gets. You can put in your own letterhead, decide how you're going to do your invoicing. The information about each consultant is also stored here with their username, password, their email setup, which will show you how easy that is to do a bit later, personal details, and you can control their KPIs here as well. So whether it's quarterly, weekly, daily, each individual consultant would have their own KPI and the targets that they need to hit. As I said, it's individually controlled, and then you can even choose colorized calendars as you wish. The template section that follows here allows you to create your own template. So if I choose one of these here, I've got a couple of options here as well. So you can use the right hand side here, what we call merge tags, to add any information that can be pulled from the database directly into your template. So you can create these letters or email letters at your heart's content, and they will be added directly to your database or wherever you're writing, and you can use our formatting palette if you wish to design them or style them slightly differently as well. The value lists are what we call drop downs. Here you can just paste in, it couldn't be easier, paste in whatever it is you want to appear in a drop down and they will appear in the drop down. It's extremely simple. Events, if you want to follow up a candidate placement, for example, you can set up events. So 30 days after you place someone, you'll get a calendar event reminder to chase that person up. And the system tags, as you saw earlier, you can create your own or you can import from some of our templates. You can also resolve duplicates, or you can auto-populate some additional data from there. The currencies is done from xe.com, so you can set up multiple currencies to make sure your data is always accurate. Got job boards, we use Broadbean. You can style, this is where I was saying you could style your own CV earlier, as you saw the CV formatting section. You can do a built-in PDF version, or you can style it based on this, as you can see here, the Word document, so you can create your own styling. It's very simple and easy to use, all done with Microsoft Word, so you can do this yourself. We help set you up, obviously, when we get started to make sure it looks right and the information is getting pulled in, and it's part of your training, but you can do that yourself. MailChimp, so we use for our email partner, email campaign partner, and you get an API key there which you can use. And then the web access here is where we allow you to set up your client access to the web. Another area in the admin's reports, you saw earlier, here we go, the reports. Got a few built-in reports here, general activity, again, all date-driven, so this will pull in information. You can filter by consultant, have a little preview of what's in there, and again, date-driven, choose some options here for the comms topic report and preview that. And if we go further down, we've got interviews created, open jobs, KPIs that you saw earlier, so this will individualize the KPIs for each consultant. We have a MailChimp report which we'll show you later in the MailChimp campaign, and that obviously is quite useful. This is what we call the dynamic report, where you can choose an area you wish to run a report. So I chose candidates there. And now you just click on this drop down here and choose whichever field you wish to appear in this report. So you are creating a report. It's called a dynamic report. You choose whatever you want in this report. So here I'm going to pick and choose a whole load of fields that I want shown. So we've got CV source, name, shortlist count. Not sure why I'm putting in last name again. Let's choose something else. Long list count. Let's say postcode, for example. You can pick and choose from any of these options. So let's choose the progress, for example, as well. Now if we go back into the report tab, we can actually run this report. It takes a few seconds, and we've now got a list here of the report which we can now sort. So if we sort with the CV source ascending, you'll now see it summarizes this report beautifully into helping you find out where your candidates are coming from. So it's a great report, very easy to design, and all you need to do is now either print that report, or you can filter some of the options in and out to help make that report a little bit more accurate. So let's have a look at the web access that we spoke about earlier. The web access is where a client is allowed, or you give client access to viewing online information about the jobs that they are working with. So find a client record here, click on the web access button. These little images appear against the contacts for that company, where you can click on the little logo there and create an email that will be sent to the client. So here we've got an email, post the URL. I'm going to copy that URL and go into my browser, So this is what the client will see when, let's paste that into my browser here. So this is what the client will see when they get that email. So they get access, you've given them a username, and they need to type in their own password. And once they've chosen their own password and logged in, they will get access to the information that you are storing about their job. So they get a list of jobs that you are working on with them. These at the moment are open jobs that it shows. You can search, as you'll see later, for closed jobs as well, or jobs historical information. We'll drill into jobs and you can see there's an awful lot of information there that's being stored. Back to the open jobs, you can go in further with any single job simply clicking on the arrow. Further down in that list is also the workflow item, so every candidate and every progress within that candidate as well is stored here. So here we've got external CV, CV send. So you can, a client can really drill into all the activities and actions that have happened directly from or that are happening directly with them and you as a client. You can filter instantly, just type in the filter, and as you see, as you type, it instantly filters. So if I do ACC, it instantly filters for the account managers, and click out there and it's gone. You can also search, like I say, for historic data. So if I hit the search button at the top, it will find my closed jobs as well. So information that is in the past. You can also directly from this window, you can also create a job. So this is a very clever area to this is creating jobs directly into your database. So the client has access to putting a job directly into your database. So here we've got start and end date, for example. I'll put in an account manager, and you can choose the consultant that will receive this job as well. So notification, as I'll show you, will pop up later. And if we choose some information, you can drill right down into currencies, even, as you can see here, and then put in some job summary and benefits and education. I'll just write blah blah blah. So I'll show you how this appears in a minute. Click on the create job, and this is now created directly into HRS. Simply click on that button, and HRS has now got this job directly there. Go back to a job list, and you'll see that that job is there, the account manager job. So we've just created that job. It is there and ready to go. And back in HRS, if we go back to our job list, which actually we can do, I'll do the notification. So you'll see instantly we get a notification, so you can go to the job from that notification rather than from a list of jobs and searching for it. There's blah blah blah, so that's a job we just created a second ago. We've got an instant notification and you can go directly to that job. It is pretty awesome. The styling palette, I suppose, is the best way to describe it. So in the admin section, you can go back and you can now design the web access if you wanted to make it a little bit more like your company colors, so that the clients, when you show them or give them access, will get to see something a little bit more. I'm choosing some really horrible colors here, but something maybe that might be more styled or suited to how you work. You can also put in hexadecimal code as well. If I go come out of this window, you'll see that you can choose some. Let me just choose a couple of really strange colors here. And I'll show you how that appears on the web. So we've chosen some pretty strange colors here. And if I now go to my web page and refresh this window, you will see instantly that those colors are reflected on that web page. So the client will see that instantly. Back in HRS, obviously, you can style that clear and change the text as you wish, or the colors as you wish to style them. It's really that simple. And if we refresh again, you'll see back to where we were. So another thing I spoke about earlier was emails and setting up emails. So let me show you how easy that is. We use IMAP emails with HRS Connect, which allows you to basically mimic the information that you've got on all your devices based on IMAP details. So if you were running an Exchange server, for example, as I'm doing now with this demo account that I'm setting up, all you need to do is type in your email address, and this information or your email details can be pulled in quite quickly. So right now the software is searching for the details and it's confirmed it's found it. And now all we need to do is choose the folder. So it's brought in all the folders from my mail account, and I'm now going to choose the folder that I want to sync. We don't recommend using the inbox. So obviously creating an HRS folder is the best way forward, and then you can dump things into that folder. But I've chosen inbox, and now I can choose how far back I want to sync my emails. So this is a setup. Obviously once you've done this, you've got your emails in. We normally do this as part of your setup. I'll go back a couple of months here and just show you, once you've chosen these dates, hit the save button. It's warning you it's going to pull these emails back. So if you went too far back, it would take a while. And now it's going to pull in all these emails. pretty quickly, and in a few minutes you will see that these once it's brought these emails in, what that looks like and what you can do with it. It's pretty straightforward. So we've pulled in these emails. It's now going to take you, or now we've got to go, sorry, it's brought all the emails in. We're now going to go to our email section where you can see all those emails that have recently just come in. So 38 emails, as you saw, have come in, and they're instantly viewable right there. You can now check the folders you've done, you can resync, you can create emails, you can forward them, and you can also do some pretty neat things like, if let's scroll through here, I'll show you, you can actually pass a CV directly from here. You can view the emails. Let's actually open one of these up and have a look. So you've got its HTML style, so it's pretty cool. You can also go into the actual candidate, for example, who might have sent you a CV, and you can pass that CV directly from there. So the attachments are all shown as well. Here you can see you can just choose on a particular email and then pass it. It's really that simple. MailChimp is an email marketing campaign application. It's a website. We're a partner with them. Here you can create marketing campaigns where you can send bulk emails in very fancy HTML style to lists of people. So let's show you how that works. I'll search for all my candidates in London, for example. Let's go into list view, and here you can see we've got a list of records here, 17 in total, and I'm going to send these to MailChimp. With MailChimp, you've got to actually create a list first. So let's create this list of 17 people, and we'll call this the, let's call it a MailChimp list. And we're presented with all the candidates that are represented in that list. You can obviously delete them from here. If it's a MailChimp list, you need to check this icon and populate the information that's presented. This is all legal information required for the anti-spam laws. So let's populate this quickly with some relevant information. Obviously you need your name, language, there's a few things that MailChimp require, and you can see the asterisk against those fields. You need to populate that information for this to work properly. When you're happy with that, the MailChimp list will be created. This sends it up to MailChimp, so the campaign is now, this is running off the MailChimp application, and any information that's missing, like for example this record here, it shows you a blank record, you can now delete it from this list, and this will update the MailChimp list as well, so it takes a few seconds to delete it. You're now ready to go. So if we continue, we will be presented now with the option to create the campaign. So now we need to go back into our options here, our list functions, and actually create the campaign. So we're going to start a new campaign, and we will call this campaign just, I don't know, MailChimp campaign demo. And now we've got to choose a list. That's what the warning says. You've got to choose a list that you want to apply to this campaign. This is how MailChimp works. So I'm going to choose that list that I just created, which was the new MailChimp list created by Carl at the bottom there. Say OK. It's got 17 people. And now you can do either a plain text campaign or a regular one. And regular basically allows you to import templates and so forth, as I'll show you. Plain text would obviously just be plain text. So I'm going to show you how we're going to create a regular campaign. These are our templates that we've already pre-built in MailChimp. It's pulled them down ready to use. So I'm going to select the top one, the test. And here's the design of that top one. A little bit of knowledge about HTML, just a little bit. You can now change some of the information that you see. Firstly, we'll change the image that's being used. So I'm going to change this and put our HRS logo in there. Come out of that, you'll see how that image is now changed. It's obviously a little bit too big, so let's change the size of that image. You'll see here some figures. If we change that from 600 to 300, we will halve the size of that image. So we'll do that. Come out of that window, and you now see we've got an HRS logo that looks a little bit better and is ready to send. So off we go, and it will run from MailChimp itself. Let's have a look at logging into mobile devices. So we'll first go into the iPad. I'll log in as obviously as my name. And a hidden password. And you'll see in a few seconds you'll be presented with the agenda page. That's our choice from our desktop app as we're going to log in. Again, date driven. So if I take the year back a little bit, or the date back a bit, you'll see we have a list of agenda identical to what we had on the desktop application. So it's absolutely identical. If we click on the little tab along the top left hand corner, you get the navigation bar, which will allow you to get access to the other tables, which basically means contacts, candidates, companies, and jobs. So we'll go into candidates. Here's our Roy Rogers. Let's have a look at his record. and you'll notice it's identical to the desktop version we were looking at earlier, with the same details and notes, communications, job matches, etc. To create a new comms log, obviously click on the plus button and you can create a note simply and easily just from there. You can scroll up and down and you can edit this data to your heart's content. You'll see that the information is identical and very, very easy to view, very simple, very clear on the eye, and the logo, the image of the candidate is on the top left-hand corner as well. Editing, clicking on the edit button will pop you into a slightly different view, but you can edit all the fields as if you're on your keyboard or your general desktop app, and you can add from drop downs just as you can from the desktop app. It's very, very easy to use. When you're happy with that, just click the go back button and you're back to the layout you were on before. It's very simple. Viewing maps works the same way. Just click on the icon, it pops up a Google map right in front of you where you can view that map location for the address, and you can edit any of the fields or do searches as we do now for, say, Peter up the top right hand corner, and now we find all the records that have Peter involved in it, and you can view them as if they're ordinary records just from a search. You can search for anything. So let's go and search for Roy again. That'll take us back to that Roy record, and to show all data, you just search for a star, and all the records will appear. And you can scroll through them. As I say, anything can be searched on, so you can search on anything, the current job title, etc. Let's have a look at companies now. Companies is very similar. All the tables are exactly the same. So we'll look at companies. Same, you can scroll through, you can search in the top right hand corner, and you can click on the arrow next to a record to view that record's details, which is what we'll do now. So we'll choose that record. Scroll down, you'll see same thing. You've got some portals there with company contacts and communication logs, and you can go back and forth as you wish from that area. If we go into contacts, the same thing appears in the contacts. You have a list of contacts. Any candidates that are also registered as contacts will also be there. As you saw, they're highlighted as well. And we can now look at the jobs, which will also follow the same concept of lists of records that you can scroll through, and you can search on the top right hand corner as with any other part of this iPad application. So let's look at a job, for example. We'll go into a job. You've got the general details of a job, just as right down to the training, the tags, everything's all stored, even the communication logs and the match candidates as well, all sitting there for viewing. And you can go from a match candidate directly to the candidate, view those candidates, and then go back into jobs, just the way you would in any other part of the database system. The navigation bar, the top left-hand corner, will take you back to where you started at any time, and you can create an event from the top right-hand corner by simply clicking on the plus button. It really is that simple and very easy to use. The iPad is used as a referencing tool. The iPhone is exactly the same as well. When you first log in, again, date-driven. You can also choose consultants, and you can choose a different date range, so you can view that information. It's exactly the same data you were looking at from the iPad and on the desktop app, all running in exactly the same way and function in exactly the same way. As you could see there, you could view the date details, and you can now open up the navigation bar, and you can go and have a look at some of the other records like candidates. Roy Rogers' record will be exactly the same, and you'll see all the data right down to the portals for the comms logs at the bottom as well. And again, from here you can create a note or a different sort of comms log right from that little navigation button. So it's really, really simple and easy to use. And clicking on the job matches will take you to the jobs as it did on the iPad, as it does on the desktop app, where you can view the information. And again, you've got the candidates where you can scroll backwards and forwards and view those records. You can search the way you could on the iPad as well, so you can type in a record and have a look at them, or you can search directly for a name or for any other person. Same with the jobs. Click on the jobs, it will present you with a list of jobs, and again you can scroll through these records and change the information or share the information or view the information just as you could with any other part of this database. So let's have a little look with the jobs. As we saw earlier, you can scroll all the way through. This is a job that's obviously got some information there, a little bit more populated, and it's really simple to use. Go back to your agenda, and that's how the iPhone works.